I'm going to be really honest with you. I was a young CEO and I was a terrible communicator. I used to try and communicate to people with data and information. Now, statistically, I was brilliant. I could work things out. I knew how to position a company. But as far as communication went, I was really bad. So it was only when I looked at neuro linguistic programming and started to study the business side of neuro linguistic programming that everything started to change. Let me explain. You see, I'm audio digital, which means that I communicate in data and information, or I used to until I had a light bulb moment. And so I realized that 40% of people are kinesthetic. They feel, they're emotional. And then there's 40% of people that are visual, right? They see things, they see the bigger picture. And that 10% of people were audio, that they hear information predominantly. And then there's 10% that are audio digital. So this little 10%er realized that I wasn't communicating with 80% of the population. I get that. I'm a CEO and I'm not communicating with 80% of the population. That was really mind blowing for me. So I started to change the way I communicated, and it was really effective. So I'll give you an example. Someone would come to me and say, Claire, I feel. Now, my normal response was, let me show you the data, and this is what you need to do. But when they came to me and said, I feel, I'd say, why do you feel that way? Maybe we can explore this together. Let's unpack it together. And I would then go back to them in a representational way and say, I feel we could do it differently. Now, that took a lot of practice, it took a lot of meetings. But then I found something even more exciting. I was able to take that into the negotiating table. And I was able to understand representational types. And I started to work out a few amazing principles. And the first one was mutual benefit, the ability to basically come to the table, understand that representational type. So if they were visionary, I would talk in terms of images. My language would change and adapt. But I also knew I wasn't going in there to win, I was going in there for mutual benefit. And that started to build trust. So there were two key factors of trust. One, I understood their representational type and I could communicate with them more effectively. Then, number two, what I did is I went in not to dominate, but to build that relationship of mutual benefit. Those two little factors alone were really incredible in me being able to improve my ability to communicate. But of course, it didn't stop there. And why didn't it stop there? Because it was so powerful. I was able to win deals, I was able to negotiate opportunities like I'd never had before. But it did mean that I had to pause. It did mean that I had to work out what was going on around me. Now, in neuro linguistic programming, we talk about this as being sensory acuity, the ability to walk into a room and to read people's body language. Now, body language is also a key indicator. It's not just the words that people use, it's the body language that they put in to a meeting or into a presentation. So what I started to do is started to observe people in a whole new way. And once I started to observe in a whole new way, then I started to understand people better. And that led me to apply the neuroscience of leadership, to understand the power of the mind and the power of thought and the power of energy in creating change. But that's another story for another day. I want to share with you that neuro-linguistic programming can take you to depths that you can't even imagine in terms of building mutual benefit with other people. So I remember clearly a negotiation with a person that everybody had tried to negotiate with, and it failed. They went in hard, they went in fast, they went in as a victim, and this person wasn't listening to them. It was my first week as a CEO, and I said to the chairman, I think that I could change the mind of that person. And they said, good luck, we've been trying for months. I sat down with them, and it literally was a 4 hour meeting, but I spent time listening. They were very frustrated, they were very angry at the process. And at the end, I'd worked out that they were kinesthetic and they wanted to make a difference in their community. And I actually understood that person and the body language that they were presenting to me. And so at the end, I said, really, we're no different. I really want to make a difference in this community as well. There's only one thing stopping me, and that's that I can't close this deal. Now, I really am here for the long haul. I want to make a difference, just like you. So, how could we resolve this today? And he said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I'd like us to come to a mutual agreement. And then I said, once we reach that mutual agreement, we can both walk away. Because I know that you want to do the right thing by the community. And I feel like we've connected tonight. And he said, okay, I'll think about it. Well, he rang me later that evening. He said, I'll get my solicitors to contact you. The deal is done. Now, that was the first time I'd entered into a negotiation that literally was make or break for a company. And I was able to negotiate a fantastic outcome. Not from ego, but from the ability to truly connect with another human being and understand where they're coming from. So that's what neuro-linguistic programming does. It really helps you to be able to connect with people at a whole new level. Now, once you do this, people start to see you differently, and you start to see yourself differently. So once you remember about the power of neuro-linguistic programming and the ability to connect with different representational types, then you understand how you can be more effective in your leadership. Now, of course, that translates to a number of other areas too, which I won't talk about in this video. But really, from a marketing perspective, when you use NLP, it is also a game changer. And what will happen is that you will start to sell more products, you will start to engage people more, you will start to be able to sell dreams and goals with a greater degree of effect. So I hope you've enjoyed this little segment on why I stepped into neuro-linguistic programming and why it was a game changer for me.